I'm just gonna go out and say it, this game is a pile of trash. The fact that it was nominated to be among the greatest games out this year, like Elden Ring and God of War, is a travesty. I barely even lasted 10 minutes in this game before I was already wanting to just uninstall it and not play this game ever again. Especially when compared to all the past Sonic games that have come out. And then also the more recently completely free fan-made game called Sonic Omens, which I highly recommend, and I'll leave a link in the description to download it. That game is really freaking well done compared to this piece of shit. But I still gave the game a benefit of the doubt. I tried really hard to play it, so I lasted about 3 hours before I just had enough and I couldn't do it anymore. But this is not a complete failure of a game, because there are some good elements to it that I see Sega was trying to do, but I totally feel like it just wasn't ready to be released this way. So I'm just gonna talk about some of the good and then also talk about the terrible. The main thing that I saw that was pretty decent was the boss battles. That's like the main thing that I really liked in this game, because it gave you a little bit more freedom to not only take advantage of the fact that you're playing as Sonic and you can go real fast and jump high and do all these things that were really cool, but it also like added mechanics to the actual boss fight to make it a little bit more unique with each battle that you actually do with these bosses. Another decent thing was the levels that you go into. So like when you basically get ported into an actual real Sonic game area. I wish that the open world section looked like this, or had like different worlds that you can go to that were open world like this. But instead, we're just stuck in a normal Sonic game that you could have probably just played any other Sonic game to get this experience. But it's actually worse because you're fighting the camera angle like all the time. Your camera gets stuck on every little goddamn thing. And then also the controls aren't as responsive as they should be when you're sprinting through as fast as possible down a level. Another thing I really like was the soundtrack. This is like one of the major reasons why I even wanted to stick around and play as long as I did, was just to listen to the music, because I was like, dude, they got some bangers in this shit. But the only thing that really sucks is that when you go back into the dreary open world part, you're back to just listening to some ambient music, and it's like, fuck, man, I want to listen to some bangers again. And the only time you really hear bangers is either during like an epic boss fight or inside the actual Sonic levels that you go through, which I don't remember the name of. Now let's talk about the bad. I respect the fact that they tried to do an open world with this game, but it just feels like such a crappy, poorly put together process that it makes the game just feel shallow in a lot of areas. Like when it comes to exploration, you got these rails that are just like in the sky and stuff like that. But instead of like incorporating the rails with the world in some way, they're just floating rails in the sky. Also, the area that you spend most of your time in is like some dark, gloomy ass area. And on the Switch, it looks even worse than on the PC port. So just the graphics in general is horrible. It feels like a game that came out back in like 2001. Even then, we can look back at the original Sonic games. Even those felt better than what this is right here. Most of the game is very easy. All you do is just press one button, X or whatever, to do your melee. And you just like warp to the guy, you punch him. And if you tap it a bunch of times to like beat the shit out of him. And that's it. That's pretty much the gameplay of this whole game. There's little to no challenge. The speed doesn't feel as fast as it could be, especially when comparing it to Sonic Omens. And the level design is pretty horrible. Because for the most part, all you're doing is just running around an open field of nothing until you run into either another mob to fight, or you run into some like puzzle. It just feels like a bunch of like tacked in things. It feels like this is the fan-made game and Sonic Omens is the actual official one. And this is the thing I'm getting at. I definitely recommend Sonic Omens, even though the story is very short, like you can beat it in like a couple hours. It still is extremely satisfying compared to this garbage that is Sonic Frontiers. I give Sonic Frontiers a 1 out of 5. It's a pile of crap. Don't spend any money on this garbage. If you have to play this game, then wait until it's on sale for like $10. Then you can go ahead and have some fun, I guess. But it's a pile of crap. Just go onto Sonic Omen's website, download their free game, and enjoy that. Or you can do like I did and download Yuzu and get Sonic Frontiers that way. But anyways, yeah, this game is garbage.